And today's subject, PEMF. I just came back from Baden-Baden from the International Health Trade Show for complementary medicine, and there were only two devices present which are going through the security standards, which can be used in clinics, can be used in medical centers, which have all the tests and all the legal applications that are necessary to be used in medical environment. Number one is the PEMF, and I'll blend in the image here. PEMF is a very powerful device, long on the market, very, very good, but very expensive. It's around the $40,000 mark, and they've shown it at the show. There were several speakers talking about the benefits of using PEMF, and that's a device that is well established in many clinics. Then there is the PMT 100 or 120, which comes in three different variations, which is equal in strength, equal in power, and also goes through all the different security measurements, all the different security standards, and can be presented at the Medica in Düsseldorf, can be presented at the international conference in Baden-Baden, because it's a device that can be used in clinics. Most of the other devices are what I call so-called garage devices. They are built by people, for people, but they don't apply with all the security standards, CE approval, FDA approval, which those devices do. Now, the PMT 100 is roughly about $22,000, and there is a lot of development. A lot of people switch over now to the electronic spark chambers, which are not as sharp. And if you look at the curve of an electronic, it goes like 0, and then it goes up like this to a peak, and then it falls down. Now, if you understand the principle of PEMF, is the main effect is the shock wave that goes into a cell. If you have a cell, we call these devices a ringer device. So you have a club, and that club hits the cell with a very strong bang. Now, if that club is soft, like here, it has a soft curve, then it's like a sponge or a soft cotton ball, and when you hit the ball, it goes, or the cell, it goes boom. But if you have a spike like those devices, like the PEMF and the PMT 100, they go straight up to 100 and then they fade out. So that is done by achieving a very, very strong spark. And that spark is the same as the Tesla coil, as the ultraviolet ray, all the electrical sparks like lightning and thunder that you see in the sky, those electric sparks that are discharged. And that's what happens. You have inside here a device which is called a spark chamber with titanium heads, and that's where the spark jumps over to the other side and causes a massive incline. And that means this thing is not soft. It's not like one of those soft cotton balls. It's actually a solid metal or wooden club that hits the cell very hard and very strong, and through that causes all the effects that we want to achieve in a cell. Now, these are the two only devices which are left on the market which are used for cancer treatments. And in Germany, PEMF is used since many, many years. And it was really fascinating. The talks and the presentations were according to show that it can be used in case of such a hard incline and really smashing the cell that it causes apoptosis, which is the death of cancer cell. It increases massive amount of oxygenation. It expedites wound healing. These are the healing effects, but the redifferentiation and the apoptotic effect are actually achieved through that massive ringer, that hard strike that those cells have. Now, I like those devices, and I actually made a big purchase to rescue 10 of them before they are booked out. There is hardly any left because they are the only ones on the market, and the PMT 100 actually, in comparison, when you look at the strike, when you look at the pulse, it's identical. Then the $20,000 dear, or almost double as dear, PEMF device, and that's why a lot of clinics ordered straight away after the presentation, and I just made a security plug-in for us, and if you want, you will have a coupon code at the end of this movie, and that will give you a very special discount so that we start to establish in all our Truly Healed clinics devices like that where people can go and have the advantage to use the device on an hourly rate. Okay, let me just explain very short what these devices do, what this extreme heart strike does. Number one, we have receptor sites, you know, all those different energy channels. Our cells don't take up, if this is a cell and inside is our ATP factory, our energy factory, then all of those little pathways is where nutrients go in. Sodium, potassium, all the nutrients that the cell needs, vitamins, are absorbed through those channels. This is like a lipid profile, a fat profile, and as we know, the membrane is really the transporter of all that information. There is exhaust, as I call, waste products going out, what the cell has used up. This is where we have a lot of fermented products from cancer cells going out, and then we have all the glucose and sugar and intake and nutrient uptake through those receptors. Now, by living in our present world, we have a lot of those toxins, xenoestrogens, and mimicking estrogens that are blocking those pathways, which means those pathways are blocked. There is like an attachment on top, and that means they can't take on any more nutrients. And that's what is the main problem. Most of our cells, with age, with consumption of lots of toxins and stuff that we consume every day, breathe every day, cream, absorb into our body in any form, is blocking those membrane receptors. That means the cell can't absorb energy, can't completely transform it, and can't get rid of those waste products. And that's what leads to a deflated. Now this is a round cell, you can see. Now these are cells, and I show you an image now, which is in the blood as soon as cells go deflated. They don't have lack of energy. All their receptor sites are blocked. The environment in which the cell lives is acidic, so the cell deflates, can't breathe properly. Then there is all the toxic, which is in the blood as soon as cells go deflated. They don't have lack of energy. All their receptor sites are blocked. The environment in which the cell lives is acidic, so the cell deflates, can't breathe properly. Then there is all the toxic receptors, and that would cause coin rolls, and you can see that in the image now beside. Those coin rolls, they cannot absorb energy, they cannot let go of waste products, they're stuck and they cannot carry oxygen, nothing. And those coin rolls can actually develop further, as you see in the image now, into a clumped blood where everything is clumped together, where everything is unable to work. Now what we do is, with the PEMF device, and I'll turn it on a moment, I need to change the plug. This was the wrong one, and I'll show you my favorite one, because this is a really great device. It comes with all attachments, so you don't need to worry which ones you use. Where is the plug? Here, down here. Okay, so it comes with all of those attachments, and you can use them for every variation. This is the butterfly, and the butterfly means I can put it over my shoulder and don't worry. I can actually put it over my head and do a brain treatment. I can put it over my elbow and it covers and boxes the whole event. I can put it over my knee, over my belly, and as a double effect, just put it here onto my neck, and if I have tensions in my shoulder, if I have a problem in that area, then I can turn it on. I'll turn it down. Really important, you need to understand, don't turn it on when it's turned up. It gives you a big jolt. Then I turn on the device, and now I press the green button. Now it starts working, but I don't feel it. It's very low energy. Now as I bring it up, you probably hear, and I hope my microphone survives, it brings that little duck, 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 and I can turn that up, and it gets stronger. And I can bring that actually into a field where you can see I have real muscle contractions. And this is now probably half, so I can go all the way up, and you can see it smacks me really if I go full throttle. Now probably my microphone is dead, I hope not, but that really smacks in with bang, discharge, with a full-on magnetic pulse. It's not an electric pulse. I turn it down a little bit because this is really intense. See, I bring it down and now it's more pleasing. But in regards to cleaning out those membranes, this gives like a massive bang, and then all those receptor sites clear off. It's actually really shattering the cell in their whole consistent, make it vibrate, and through that all the receptor sites are clean. And we know that from actually a research study which was done by Dr. Rao, 25 patients on a chelation therapy. Chelation is used to detoxify heavy metals. The other group, 25 people, had no PEMF, the same chelation. So when you look at the results before they start, they had both toxic levels, very clear, high amalgam, high silver, high aluminum, like all of the heavy metal toxicity were shown in the field. Then this group with PEMF started to do 10 chelation programs, and the other group without PEMF was doing the same chelation programs. And then at the end of the program, they tested the results again. They checked exactly the toxicity level, how far it had come down. The group with PEMF was double. And that shows, as soon as you give those strong strikes onto your body and you really kick into your cells and you rattle them loose, all those toxins are released and can be washed out by the system. If you then have a good catch system, chlorella and fibers and all of that, or binding materials like zeolite, like chelation therapies, and you bind them and you get rid of them, then this is the dream detox. So this is actually a mega enhancement to any detox process. We all know that when you have a tumor, let's say you have a big sarcoma somewhere at your body, and you would pulse it with this, it would discharge loads of toxins into your bloodstream. If you then have vitamin C, glutathione, and all of those things to catch those, you are on a safe side because you can get rid of the toxins out of your system and you enhance the detox pathway with this device. So this is number one. We get rid of toxins, and secondary, look at the minus inside and positive outside charge. When I have a cell which is healthy and strong and sound, well then they have a very strong inside negative charge and a strong outside charge at this lipid profile, at the membrane. And usually it's about 80 millivolt of difference between positive and negative that keeps the cell strong and sturdy. It's like having solid muscles and being strong in constitution. You can feel that, everything is tense and clean. And then you have deflated cells which go down to 30 millivolt, and we know cancer cells roughly are about 20 millivolt. They're really brittle membranes. They are not well developed because they grow so fast. They don't have the time to make a flexible, soft, well-working membrane, and that's why they're very brittle. They can hold up to 20, 25, up to maximum 30 millivolt. Now what you do with this here, you send massive waves of negative ions into your cells. This is a negative ion shooter, as Dr. Rao describes it. So when you hold that here and you have a pancreatic cancer, you have liver cancer, you would shoot massive amounts of negative ions into your cells and through that recharge the cells. As soon as that happens, those deflated cells pump back up and get very solid and round and well working again. And all the stuck, like in between those cells, those receptor sites, they're rendered immobile. They cannot absorb nutrients, they cannot give off nutrients, they cannot give waste products off. They're stuck, so they poison themselves. As soon as you do the treatment, and this is the beauty of those devices, you don't need to do an hour treatment, you do a 15-minute treatment. Like you use this coil and you move from here all the way up around your body, use it around your neck, slide down until you get to your sacral area, And as soon as you're done with one surround, or a lot of males I know, they use this in their delicate parts, or they sit on this and use it for prostate cancer. So as soon as you do that and you really use it wisely, all of a sudden you recharge your system, and all those clumped and clotted cells, look at the image, deflate, and you have in 15-minute treatment, even 10 minutes already, you have from this to that. And this is amazing. It's like really transforming every treatment. At many of the clinics that we work with, they do this treatment 10 minutes, 15 minutes before they have an IV infusion. Think about, you pump into the bloodstream, into clotted blood, vitamin C or B17 or laetrile or mistletoe or any kind of anti-cancer remedy. Do you think it can be taken up? It can be transported? It can be absorbed by the cells? No! It's actually just floating and without any kind of absorption into the cell throughout your system, and is then filtered out by the liver, by your kidneys, and it's gone. Well, now think about, you go and have a 10-minute, 15-minute treatment beforehand. You pump up all your cells, you activate the ATP production, you activate all the receptor sites, and then you give an IV infusion. 5 times better results, and that's what they've experienced over many years. That's why you won't have any kind of treatment in Europe without this prior happening. If you do hypothermia treatment, for example, heat, you want your cancer cells laden with the nutrients that you give, whether that's mushroom or anything. So you would use PEMF first, then you do either IV or oral supplementation in a very strong dose, curcumin, whatever it is. And then you would have hypothermia, because then your cells are completely absorbing that. And you can use the same device as well. Let's say liver cancer, you would hold this one, or we have another, which is a very powerful tool. It looks like, table tennis, a little club. That's actually a highly concentrated spiral in here, and if you use this, that causes not a big magnetic field, it causes a very central, sharp point, and you would hold that directly over your liver, and you would smash your cancer cells, which are very low voltage, with so many negative ions that they overcharge, that they break apart, they cannot hold. It's like blowing up a balloon and blowing too much air into it, and pop, it blows. That's the same thing as you do with your cancer cell. Now, it's not a one-off treatment, you do that and then they all die off. It's a constant treatment that you do daily over a long period of time, and through that you render them weak, you render them overcharged, you slowly destroy layer by layer, and that's what they do in the clinics. It's a dream device to locally treat wherever you have cancer. If you have it in the breast, you can use the loop, the big loop, and you hold that, on your chest. You can wrap that around your arm. You can put that over your head and your neck for thyroid, for everything. So it's really versatile. Females can put that through, or also males, and put it, I don't know whether you see it, here around for ovarian cancer, for rectal cancer, for all of those areas. And that's how it's used. That's how they use it in European clinics with CE approval, medical approval, and it's a stunning tool. Now, I know it's not really allowed to be spoken about in regards to cancer. They all say, well, you have to use it for pain relief or for osteopathy, or because that's legally allowed in America. In Europe, it's allowed for everything. And that's why when you buy this device, they use it in cancer clinics and they use it for cancer patients. It's only not allowed to be advertised in the rest of the world for that. But we know Germany is leading, far advanced leading in regards to cancer treatments from anybody in the world. So let's just follow their advice, okay? Now, I would like to go through very short to the end of the video before I tell you the coupon code. I would like to show you the different devices. Now, the big device, which is actually, and I have to show you, really, really massive. It's in my point of view the strongest device to achieve like really massive results. And you know what? I'm going to put the microphone here to the side. I hope you still hear me, but that's going to blow it if I turn that on. So I have now on a very weak level, and I can actually use it for brain treatment, and I can feel exactly the level where it is. So if I have brain injuries, if I have, let's say, had a fall, I had a concussion, anything, if I have dental problems, if I would like to treat some infections in my jaw, I can really go directly there and even bring it up a little bit. You can see it, you can feel it very, very clearly and very strong. You don't want to overcharge your neurons in the brain, but this is a stunning treatment, detoxifying the brain, actually getting rid of edema. That's what they use it for, wound healing. See, you can bring it into different areas, and it really, sometimes it's a bit tough, so you turn it back down, but that's where you can use it to really activate healing in that area. Then you bring it down, and you can put it around your thyroid. And let's just bring it up. You can see this thing, and that's probably just half, actually really causes massive contractions, muscle contractions, spikes that go very sharp, hit the cell, and vibrate everything loose. So when you start the treatment, you don't want to overdo it, because you can have a massive Herxheimer reaction. Too many toxins flushing out into the system. So start slowly, hold it at a lower level, and really just bring yourself first into the field. As soon as you have, and see, this one would be more energizing, recharging, activating your cells. Whereas if you go those strong bangs, they really clean out your cells and rattle them. So you use that according to what you want to achieve. Now this is a dream to use, especially for thyroid, for chest, for lung cancer, for all of those areas. You can use it for joints. It's actually like a diagnostic tool, and this is something I found quite nice. You just put it around like this, and then you would turn it up. And I have here on my right side, no problem. You see, I can bring my arm up, no problem, and it's clean. I dislocated this shoulder. That was kind of painful, and it's many, many years back. But when you look, my arm goes up to a certain point and it doesn't go further. It didn't. Now I started to use this treatment and did it like that, but as soon as I do it, I can actually feel like a piercing pain in that shoulder, and it's quite intense. So I can't turn it up to the same length, but I've been using it now for 3-4 weeks, and my arm, I tell you what, I just show you beforehand, I didn't get my arm further up than here. It just blocked. And now I can get it all the way up without any problem. So it repairs cartilage, it repairs bone structure. It really is for wound healing, expedited wound healing, for osteopathy, and chiropractors love this device. We have so many chiropractors who now start using the device because it resets memory within the cell. You know, like this memory is dictated by what's blocking the membranes. So when you have now a cell which is cleaned, all of a sudden they start to work properly again, which we call redifferentiation. They start to work properly and don't live in their limitations. So it's a stunning tool for chiropractors, for any kind of naturopath. If you use this before you give herbals or remedy or homeopathy, it's enhanced so many times. You realize I'm passionate about this. I love this device, and I just want to explain you why it works and how it works. Okay, so we have this, we have the ATP production, and this is my favorite tool, which is probably used most of the time in all clinics. And I showed you the pedal device, which is our power tool to destroy very local areas. I've shown you the butterfly, which you can use, you know, in all areas. You can use really everywhere around, wherever you need to hold it tight by yourself, on your knees, elbows. Now we have one device, which is actually a bit of a fiddle. You don't want to miss this one. This is a rope, a very long rope that has a very soft, nice rubber lining, but it is very powerful. We had a lady fall down the stairs. Her ankle was swollen. She couldn't stand on the leg. It was purple, blue, green, really bad. What we did was, you leave a little bit at the end just to have something to plug in. What we did was, we just wrapped this around her wrist many times, and you keep it loose, but it's gonna go, if you have a swelling, you will realize how fast this will bring the swelling down. You can see I'm wrapping it just around. Now we need a little bit more rope. We take this one out here, and now I plug those two in. Okay, turn it down, press the button. It runs for 3 minutes. This is actually nice. You don't need hours of treatment. You don't need to have half an hour of people sitting in your clinic or sitting there. You do this treatment in 15 to 20 minutes. Now turn this on, and you can see I can bring this pretty much to full strength, and it just goes like bang, bang into my wrist. Now my mother has very strong osteoporosis, like she has actually glass bones, and her bone density has gone down so drastically that wherever she hits or just hits the elbow, she has a broken bone, and it's very painful. So we've been using this device on her arm, only the right arm, because that was broken many times from falls. So we started to use it. We brought the bone density up by 30% in about 6 months. This is amazing. So when you look at all of the things that you can do, especially if you have, let's say, swelling, you have a strained wrist, you have strained ankles, which hurt, or you had a fall, or you have a bruise, and you use this, what you do is you activate the cells in that area, activate the ATP, and not only in your healthy cells, but also in your white blood cells, who repair all the macrophages, T lymphocytes, all of them start to work in that area, highly concentrated. Actually, Dr. Henning has done a bit of research on cancer cells, and then you use PEMF in that area quite intense. You use it for about 4 or 5 days, and then you do before and after white blood cell count within the tumor in a biopsy, and all of a sudden the tumor was infested with white blood cells because of the PEMF treatment. And that's the same thing that you do within those ankles, within those joints, or elbows, or shoulder, or breast, or your knees, wherever you need it, or your hips. You wrap this around, and you have 2 or 3 treatments of 3 minutes, and you will see afterwards, if you had a swelling, the rope drops off without you doing anything, because the swelling is completely gone. That's what happened with the lady. When we wrapped it, it was tight to the leg, and then we had 2 treatments, each 3 minutes. The device turns off after 3 minutes, and the rope fell completely off. Well, that shows how powerful and how effective this is. Dr. Finn Scott Anderson, who unfortunately passed away from Humlegarden in Denmark, he was using this for everything. He said, this is my secret tool to enhance every other treatment I do manyfold. And it's true. You will realize as soon as you add this to the program, there is nothing more powerful than that. And it's so easy, convenient. A nice thing is that all your clients can do it yourself. We have in all clinics this thing in the common room or in one of the treatment rooms, and they just go there and do it on their own. They don't need medical supervision. There's only one risk that can go wrong. One risk. And that means you plug it in, you have, let's say, the plug-in, and the person before you or you yourself haven't turned it down. And let's just say you have this device and you hold it here and it's all the way up, and you turn it on and bang, and you get a real smack. That's all that can happen. So don't start with your brain Really start always at a body part which doesn't hurt that much, and then move around. You can use it, this is actually one of the most powerful for your root chakra. You hold it down to your sacral area, and usually not as strong, and you bring in energy into the body. You know that this is where all of life energy unfolds. So what we do quite often, we sit the patient on the device and slowly increase their life energy, and after 2 or 3 times, patients are completely transformed. When you have this before, you pump it up with one treatment to this, the effects usually last about 1 to 2 days. So if you keep doing that every day, over a longer period of time, you increase your healing factor so dramatically that you don't want to miss it anymore. That's what you will realize. It's a very powerful device to be used in any form with every disease, in a low level, like this, for sleep. You know, you really bring it so that you can just hear it, and you can use that for dental problems. This is still too strong. See now, I would use it for dental problems, for cavity joints, for everything that I would like to repair in this area. I can use it for brain tumors, I can use it for neck problems. That's why I can turn it back up a little bit. And you can even have a mat to it that you can run on a low level to pain relief, sleep, bone density.